Hey, my name is Daniel and I just got back from Teched Barcelona, and in this video I'm going to cover some of the highlights on what's happening with integration. So the agenda is the CIO guide, the API and the talks around this. We got the blockchain, and there's a customer journey that is also interesting to share. So it all kicked off at a keynote where the focus was on Star Wars and all of the different things that is a part of this. So data was a big part of that, and integration in that perspective was also one of the things they covered. Where they're talking about the new API hub. I think I'll cover that later. And I think integration was also part of the API was part of the platform and the experiences. So it's some things that we would be seeing a lot more of, these things. The funny thing about Teched is I think this is the only place where you'll be able to see that many men waiting in line to get into a toilet. And it's probably not the best toilet to wait on, but that was just what you got out when you got out of the keynote. So the first session I attended was about the CIO guide. SAP has created a list of CIO guides. I think you can find it at the SAP website, all of these different guides. But the purpose of them is to give you architects and CIOs an idea about what are the different tools that we need to have. How do SAP think about these things that you as an architect, a developer, need to consider? So it's a good reference work to figure out what's happening. I think I covered it earlier, this guide, and gave some of my thoughts on it. So it outlines SAP strategy, and as I understand it and remember it, there's still a focus on PI will still be there, and it's still going to continue. And then there will be the cloud integration, which is a new part that's happening with the SAP Cloud Platform Integration. And then there needs to be it needs to be updated. So there is currently, I think, 6 ETL tools, extract, transform, and load tools. And then I think maybe it was the last Teched, they announced the SAP Data Hub, which is also a tool for that, and saving more data smarter and stuff like that, and do transitions, aggregations. So a little different way than we would do in a PI world, where we're just seeing a message, do something with it, and forget about it. But obviously integration is a big thing, and there's a lot of things you need to consider into it. So they're mentioning, looking at some of the different artifacts you have, and obviously it makes sense. So they've created the ISAM, which covers, which is a methodology for figuring out which tools to use. Just wanted to have one roadmap, and this one, this is the operational process intelligence. There was, well, not coming much more out of this. I'm not sure about how many customers is really using it. I am for a customer, so I was hoping that there would be some kind of an update on what was happening there. But I think mostly it was just waiting for a cloud version that could do something similar. But I don't know what the status of that is and where it is in the pipeline. In the CIO guide and in this overview talk, and there was a lot of talks about the APIs, and that seems to be the way SAP is going to promote a lot of their existing integrations or new integrations. This is how you want to deal with all SAP integrations. So forget iDocs, forget RCs, forget web services. API makes it a lot easier to do this kind of integration, and there's the API.sap.com, the API hub from SAP, where you can browse all the different APIs that they got from the different platforms, and it's an easy way for you to figure out what's happening, who's doing which things and what's the good and bad things then. And it does make sense to have more open and understanding about these APIs, what they are dealing with. But obviously, there's a lot of questions when we're talking about APIs. So some of these are: is this only on S4? These APIs is going to be released for at least the ERP part, or will there also be APIs from older versions using Gateway, or what's that whole part going to look like? Then you got the ESOR. Just thinking, well, it brings me back to this this concept that there was about, well, we have a great idea about these enterprise so and this is how these services should look like, and if you want to call this is this. So there was a lot of governing taking place and trying to figure out how to streamline all of this. And I hope this is going to be a lot faster, and there will be coming more services out. And so I think with ESOR, it was delivered in enhancement packages, and I think it took too long time for it to really be used. And people are saying, well, I know I can use this from an iDoc. I see this works, it's proven, we don't have to consider anything. And that was probably the reason why ESOR didn't really take off. And then you always had to figure out, oh, we need to be on the newest release to support these things. Then one of the question I was raising or considering is, what about if you want to have transactions going out from your SAP system? When someone creates an order, you want something to trigger and something to happen in the warehouse system or wherever you want to do this. Can you use APIs for that? Or is that going to be iDocs we need to send them? So that's, I guess we'll be more clear on that later, or we'll see how it works whenever we get to work with some of these newer tools. Then I didn't attend any sessions, but I did get to talk with some about blockchain, which obviously is quite a big topic about what this is about. And I think for integration purposes, there's definitely something about how we're going to be exposed to this. So the thing is, it's like a shared truth of what's happening in our network. So SAP has a server that you can boot up. I think it's in Cloud Platform, something like that, most likely. Where you can then say, this is my blockchain server, and then you add a list of your trusted partners to this, with the server name and certificate, whatever you need to configure this. And then for it to sign these contracts, you send messages around and verify that it all works smoothly. Then if you want to send a message into this, you just call an API to send an invoice, a purchase order, whatever you have to share. And then this network would then ensure that these transactions are signed and everybody agrees on them. Then there was the smart contract, which, as I understand it, was a way you can say, okay, if I'm getting a purchase order or sales order, then I want to process it automatically or get it from these partners, then I just want to process it. So that would be one of the interesting things about how all of this is going to work. And I think there was a standard protocol that they were using, like I think it was Hyperledger, but that may be different. But it's just a common format that trying to implement that everybody else is doing. Then there was a customer story by BAT, and that I think that's one of the good things about figuring out what other people have done, how these things worked. And so BAT was going on a hybrid cloud approach. So they got the on-premise PI system they want to upgrade, and then they got SAP Cloud Platform Integration and had done some scenarios in it. They had also used the ISAM approach to figure out what are the things they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it. They had a good relationship with product management and believed that SAP was following that roadmap, and that it seemed to be going the right way with that. So obviously this is a little new product compared to a PI, and there was some hiccups that was not as smooth and as in PI. But on the other hand, said, well, they're pretty fast and delivering some of the, or closing some of these gaps we have, so it's okay. They were still using PI and was considering doing upgrading or moving some of these interfaces to SAP Cloud Platform Integration. They talked about that the integration roles became a little more muddy than they used to be. So normally you would have a developer, an integration architect, a business person, but in the cloud world, these roles merged a little more together, and you had to leverage all of these different skills at the same time. And there was also some talk about in the future business may be able to do integration themselves using the platform. Having some patterns they could do if they wanted to do integration. So that would obviously be a good thing for citizen integration, that we can just let them do it this way. Then obviously there was a nice party where, yeah, good music, and we had a lot of fun. Other than that, I think talking to other people and figure out what they are doing, getting feedback on the testing tool that I have about what was also pretty cool. And then, yeah, what their take on these news releases. I got recognized for some of these videos that I've made, which is always pretty nice. So if you like it, do give me a like, a comment, that I always read all the comments. And then there was these roadmap sessions and QA. So I think it was called roadmap and QA. It was 30 minutes, and most of the presentations was 25 minutes. So there was not a lot of time for QA. And these rooms was also full, so a lot of people were just unable to get in to see some of these roadmap sessions. So in the next video, I'm just showing the roadmap for Cloud Platform Integration and PI. So maybe there'll be a link here. Otherwise, go find them on my LinkedIn page or wherever you are. So if you liked it, do click like, share it. It means a lot to me. And if you have any comments about how things I missed, do let me know.